It is coming up later on this month, People's Natural Gas Park, the Highlands Health Clinic benefit concert, and you would not believe the band that's going to be there. Lawrence is going to be there, a fast-rising pop rock act, and we got Clyde Lawrence on the phone right now to tell us all about it. Man, thank you for calling with us today.
Absolutely. Happy to be speaking to you.
This is a great time to be talking to your band because you guys are making a lot of noise, and we just got to run through some of it. Radio City Music Hall, you just put out your fourth album. You've opened for the Rolling Stones, and that's just a few things you guys have been doing lately. What's it like now in the world of Lawrence?
Everything's very exciting right now. We're excited for the show with you guys, and, we just got back from our Europe leg of the tour, and as you mentioned, we're about to kick off the North American leg of the tour next month for our new album, Family Business. And, there's a lot of different stuff going on, but it's all pretty fun stuff.
You guys just put out your fourth album, Family Business, and that's a perfect name for the album because this is a family act. It's you and your sister being the main two.
Yeah, it's me and my sister are the two front people, and then the other 6 full-time members of the band are our best friends from different points of childhood and school. There's not a single person in the band that's sort of a hired gun. So beyond our actual family, it's kind of our chosen family that fills out the band as well.
So what was the moment when you and your sister said, okay, we've been playing together for a long time, we've been writing songs since we were kids, I think we should make a go of this and create a full-time band?
There wasn't like a distinct conversation like that. It was kind of like we were always playing music around our house, writing songs, taking it really seriously from a young age. Our second album was called Living Room as kind of an homage to that feeling that that's where it all started for us. Some of the songs that we wrote as kids are still things that make their ways into the music that we write today. And we were playing with different friends of ours at school and whatever, and we started, playing in front of people. People enjoyed it, and then more people came and more people came. By the time we hit college, we had, some real fans, and we just kind of let the ball keep rolling. I don't know if we've ever even officially decided that we're taking it seriously. It just sort of happened.
So a lot of people got to know your band on a national level because of a Microsoft commercial. What was that like, and what was the conversation like to say, from you guys, to somebody call you and say, we'd like to use your song in a national commercial? What is that whole process like?
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we've had a handful of different moments. As I said before, it's been this kind of fun, slow burn of different people finding us in different ways. There's a handful of different things, and that's definitely one of them. Our song Don't Lose Sight from our last album was in a Microsoft commercial. And yeah, it was pretty much what you said. We got, I think, an email or a call from someone saying that they were interested in using the song in the commercial. And, we were excited about that, but you never really know what those things, whether they're going to really make a difference. And it really did. The song pretty immediately shot up into, I think it was in the top 10 most Shazam songs in the world. And then all of a sudden it was on the top 40 charts, which is super rare for an independent band like us. And yeah, it was very cool to see something like that really genuinely bring not just listeners and awareness, but some real fans to the band.
So when you're an upcoming actor, as you say, an indie act, and there's an opportunity to get your music out to a whole other group of people, is that something you jump on, or is that something you got to discuss in-house, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to discuss everything. We're very intentional about a lot of our decisions, and we always want to do anything we can to get our music in front of more people. But at the same time, our North Star, our driving force is making music that we want to make, maintaining control over our own music and our creative process and our business. That's the other part of Family Business, is not just the family part, but the business part. We take, I think, a pretty unusually hands-on approach to how our whole operation works. So yeah, every decision like that, even though, of course, we want to have as much exposure as we can, that's only a sub-priority of trying to make the music we want to make and letting our process do what we want it to do.
You want to get to the next level, playing what you want to play.
Exactly. I'd rather get as far as we can making the music that we want to make than get 10 steps farther making music we don't.
And I've been listening to your songs for the last several weeks now since the show was announced. It is such fun pop, rock, and a mix of a bunch of different genres, soul in there as well. I'm always fascinated by the process that a band has of kind of creating their sound. This is the kind of stuff we want to do, and this is what we're going to go with. So what was that like with the band?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Gracie and I growing up together had such a shared musical vocabulary. We grew up listening to, what you said, a lot of music that our parents were playing us from the 60s and the 70s. So that's like the core of our sound. And, you describe it as pop. I think like we think our music sounds like the kind of pop music that we want to make. And maybe it sounds quite different from a lot of the pop music that's out there now, but maybe it sounds like a lot of the pop music that was considered pop in 1973 or something like that. So we were listening to tons of Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Beatles, Randy Newman, Carole King, all that kind of stuff. So that's obviously really big formative influences for us. And then a lot of our sound is also shaped by some of our band members that we were friends with from an early age, our horn players. We've always loved that big horn-driven sound. And then, of course, like in high school and college, we played a lot of parties, at people's houses and stuff like that. That was a lot of our gigs was like playing college parties. And so like you learn what it feels like to play really fun, high energy music. And I think that like that we really like love the feeling of providing that for people. So like that really made its way into our sound. So all the, a combination of musical influences and the experiences you have playing music can really shape your sound. That was certainly how it worked for us.
So how do you take the college party sound atmosphere and translate it to MetLife Stadium opening up for the Rolling Stones?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like when we were a college party band, we were trying to play like the most professional, high-level, musically legitimate version of a college party show. And then now that we're playing like highly professional, musically legitimate shows, whether it's headlining Radio City Music Hall or opening for the Stones, we're kind of like trying to bring 10% of that college party atmosphere to those shows environments. Obviously, when you're opening for a band like the Stones, you're playing a massive venue. We also opened for 4 months for the Jonas Brothers last year. You're aware that a lot of the people there didn't come to see you, and some of them may not even know you. So you have to do a little something to get those people's attention or, tell them who you are. But beyond some of those little things, we try to just play our show and trust that, the music that got us there is going to be the same music that builds us a new fan base from that crowd that night.
When you're at a show and you're the opening act or you're performing a show and some people in the crowd don't know who you are, is there a moment where you kind of look at each other and go, we got him now?
Yeah, I mean, you try to have that moment be as early in the show as possible. If that happens halfway through the last song, it's better than nothing. But yeah, I mean, we definitely, when we know that we're playing a show where people are less likely to be super familiar with us, we definitely make certain setlist decisions to say, okay, let's do something. Let's try to have as much stuff in these first few songs, or have something. If it's the kind of show, maybe like a festival where people are likely to be walking by at various points throughout the show. You try to just make sure that you're always going to have moments that you think, okay, if I was walking by, I know that I think we're a great band, but if I was walking by, are we going to be playing something that's going to make me stop and say, what is this? This is cool. So you have that thought process a little bit more than when it's your own headline show. You obviously want to keep it really engaging, but you have the latitude to have a little more trust between you and the audience to say, okay, if we play a couple ballads here, we know that people are going to be invested in that.
Definitely want to ask you this because I've read a lot of artist bios in my time, and I don't think I've ever heard testified at a U.S. Senate Judiciary hearing in any of the bios I've ever read until your bio. So can you tell me a little bit about this?
We are kind of uniquely hands-on in our approach to our own business, and that extends into us thinking about the entrepreneurial aspects of what it means to run an 8-piece, indie funk band. And so we've always been, very much focused on trying to make all of that work. And we've at times grown frustrated with things that we see as unfair industry standards or inequities in the way that deals are done between artists and all kinds of different industry forces, including, the venues and promoters that we work with to put on shows. And so we've kind of always been very outspoken about that because I think it's a very opaque system that a lot of even very engaged fans don't understand. So we've always been very outspoken about it in a variety of ways on social media and fan meet and greets. I ultimately worked with some folks in the band to write a piece that ended up in the New York Times, which was a total surprise, an op-ed in the New York Times about deal mechanics, particularly in the wake of the whole Live Nation Ticketmaster ticketing debacle for the Taylor Swift tour. Yeah. And one thing just led to another. I ended up giving a testimony in front of as you said, the Senate Judiciary Committee about Live Nation, Ticketmaster, the live music industry as a whole. and just trying to shed some light on some of those issues, some of the issues that particularly affect artists. And we're continuing to try to kind of speak up about those issues. And we've already seen some awesome changes since that testimony. There's some more in the works. And yeah, that's like a big focus of ours, trying to make for fair deals in the live music industry, not just for ourselves, but for other artists too.
I imagine for an artist that's just going up, levels after levels after levels, was there anybody within your orbit that said, like, maybe this should be something you want to bring up?
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, but, I think our attitude has been, if we lead with grace and kindness and we lead with, honestly, just like a sort of measured, methodical approach of only speaking about things that we feel that we are experts on, not making, personal attacks to people, but trying to say, hey, let's look at this point. We feel this is unfair. Does anyone possibly disagree with us that this is unfair? Stand on those things. We just had kind of an underlying hope or faith that those points would be received. And we're happy that it feels like they mostly have. And we had incredible support from the rest of our band and our team to do so.
Well, we are looking forward to this show. Coming up later on this month, it is the Highlands Health Clinic benefit concert. Highlands Health Clinic is an amazing local place that helps so many people, and this concert is going to not only be an awesome night of music, but also helping a great cause. And we thank you guys for coming to play this show, for talking to us today, and for all the great music you've been doing for the last several years.
Absolutely. Thank you. We'll see you at the show.